Right, gentlemen, next rule is rule 19. So far we were talking about vessels in sight of one another. Now rule 19 says conduct of vessels in restricted visibility, and what is restricted visibility itself is defined in the first paragraph. Please read.
Paragraph A. This rule applies to vessels not in sight of one another when navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility.
So the first thing he says is not in sight of one another, an area in or near an area of restricted visibility. In or near, both ways. Right? And not in sight. If you cannot see the vessel due to restricted visibility, these rules will apply. Right? It very clearly says vessels not in sight of one another navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility. Because as I told you earlier, not in sight, suppose it is behind a mountain or something, rule 19 will not apply. You are still in good visibility. Right? In or near an area of restricted visibility, and in rule 3 definitions, restricted visibility is also defined, isn't it?
Yes.
Visibility reduced due to sand, mist, falling stones, sun, whatever.
From any other similar body.
Yeah, so if you need further clarification for what is restricted visibility, you can refer to the video on rule 3. Right? Yeah, continue please.
Paragraph B. Every vessel shall proceed at a safe speed adapted to the prevailing circumstances and conditions of restricted visibility. A power-driven vessel shall have her engines ready for immediate maneuver.
Now, in restricted visibility, the paragraph B says two things. One is that you need to be navigating at a
Safe speed.
safe speed, and we had discussed the safe speed rule, and their safe speed rule also, if you remember, it is in two parts: good visibility and restricted visibility, right? And secondly, he says engines ready. Yes,
Yes.
engines ready for immediate maneuver. So let's just say engines ready for immediate use, I'll put it. So these two conditions straight away. Now generally what happens is, we had done this in rule 6, but just to recap small terms, what basically happens is, safe speed in good visibility and restricted visibility will be different. Restricted visibility, it will be less, because you need more time to assess the situation. And if you need more time to assess the situation, you need to be at a slower speed. Only then you will be able to assess the situation. Right? So safe speed in restricted visibility will automatically become less than in good visibility. And secondly, he says engines ready for immediate maneuver, so that at any time you need to use your engines, they are readily available to you. Right? Under normal circumstances also you can use engines for collision avoidance, but here there is special emphasis that they should be ready. Generally on ships you will find your sea speed when you are at full awake is much larger. By saying engine ready for immediate maneuver, this could be interpreted as maneuvering full ahead. And if you think you want a little more speed than maneuvering full ahead, probably you may have to speak to your chief engineer and ask him if he can give you a little extra speed, but without any notice, because engine is ready for immediate maneuver. So if you say no, engines are at 10 minutes notice, no, it will not be accepted as immediate maneuver or immediate use. Right?
Yes.
But if chief engineer can give you extra RPM or something without any notice, which means even with the extra speed that you are doing, you are able to pull the telegraph whenever required, that would still be accepted. Of course, there are other conditions in Rule 6 which are given, talking about traffic density, etc. So that you can refer to Rule 6. Right? Yeah, next.
Paragraph C. Every vessel shall have due regard to the prevailing circumstances and conditions of restricted visibility when complying with the rules of section 1 of this part.
Now, section 1 talks about rules in any condition of visibility: safe speed, lookout, risk of collision, action to avoid collision, etc. All those rules which are there. Now, of course, narrow channels, TSS, all that comes in rules. I mean, these rules apply in any condition of visibility. So, the section 1 rules when you're complying with, you must have special regard. Special regard meaning what? Rule 8 had said that action shall be readily apparent to another vessel. Now, if you are restricted visibility, the readily apparent become readily apparent on radar or ARPA. So radar ARPA is going to take more time to let you know about the alteration. Today AIS is there that could give you an immediate update on the alteration of other vessels. But then, despite knowing the alteration, you still need to work out CPA, DCPA, and for that again you have to use ARPA. Though AIS does give you CPA, DCPA, but we all know that the more reliable CPA, DCPA is on ARPA. So it needs some more time. So readily apparent will have a different meaning in restricted visibility and in good visibility. Safe speed, of course, there are a separate section for good visibility, separate for restricted visibility. Right? Any other questions on this point? So due regard to all those rules, including, for example, risk of collision. Now when you say risk of collision, bearings, normally we would say visual bearing. But here we are talking of radar bearing, ARPA assistance to determine CPA, etc. So all the bearing change visually will be much faster than radar. Right? ARPA also takes a certain amount of time before it gives you the data. Right? So for all that you need to reduce speed. So you should be at slightly lesser speed than your normal good visibility speed. Any clarification required further here? Next.
Paragraph D. A vessel which detects by radar alone the presence of another vessel shall determine if a close quarter situation is developing and or risk of collision exists.
Okay, hold on. Now he says, when you detect the presence of another vessel by radar alone, you are straight away obliged to determine whether a close quarter situation is developing or risk of collision exists, which means you will, with your ARPA, straight away start plotting, acquire target on the ARPA. If you are doing manual plotting, whatever is the practice, you need to follow that. And you are now straight away being given this obligation that since you have detected the vessel on radar, you shall determine whether risk of collision exists. Right? Yeah.
If so, she shall take avoiding action in ample time, provided that when such action consists of an alteration of course, so far as possible the following shall be avoided.
Hold it. Now, he says, if so, what does that if so mean?
If risk of collision.
If so means if there is a risk of collision or if there is a close quarter situation. If so, you shall take the avoiding action, and in avoiding action again he tells you following shall be avoided. Now let us see what he says to be avoided.
Point 1. An alteration of course to port for a vessel forward of the beam other than for a vessel being overtaken.
So let's check that out. Now let's say this is the own vessel here. Usual we call this vessel A, so we will say this is vessel A. Now this beam is very, very important because the rule says avoid altering course to port for vessel forward of the beam other than overtaking. So forward of the beam, what all situations you could have? Let us see. You could have a situation like this. In restricted visibility, we cannot say this is head-on, but in good visibility, we would have said head-on. Restricted visibility, we will just say forward of the beam. Now, if it's forward of the beam, and the rule says avoid altering course to port. So, what would you do in this case? Alter course to starboard. In good visibility, head-on situation, also you will alter course to starboard.
Yes, sir.
So, as far as this one aspect is concerned, is Rule 19 different from the other rules?
No, sir.
No. Let us take another situation where you would be in a crossing situation. Again, Rule 19 says avoid altering course to port, which means again what you will do? Practically, of course, you can always reduce speed. Otherwise, alter course to starboard. In good visibility crossing situation, what will you do? So the vessel is on your starboard side, but forward of the beam, or right ahead, you still alter to starboard. The third case could be here. Vessel on your port side and crossing for good visibility. Extra visibility, we don't use the word crossing again. Good visibility, we will say crossing. But in this case, who's the giveaway? He is the giveaway. And if you are taking action under stand-on rule, what does that rule say again? Avoid altering course to port, which means you alter to starboard. So as far as forward of the beam is concerned, of course, we have not touched upon overtaking. But as far as forward of the beam is concerned, is it in any way different from the good visibility?
No, sir.
Why I am saying this is because I don't want you to be in a confusion that suddenly, initially, restricted visibility, I cannot see the vessel. By the time she comes to about 4 miles or 3 miles or something, and then you start seeing and you say, oh, now I can see her, so now good visibility, so different rules apply. The action to be taken is more or less same. There will be sectors where it will not be the same, we will come to that part. But as far as forward of the beam is concerned, same. One thing he says is, except overtaking. So let's say you got a vessel somewhere here, call this vessel E, could be another vessel F on the other side. If you are overtaking this vessel, then you are not obliged by not to alter course to port, you could alter to port or to starboard any side. So if you want to cut stern of E, which we discussed in the overtaking rule, then you got to go to starboard. And if you had a vessel here somewhere, let's say F, which you are overtaking and you want to cut a stern, you want to alter to port, you are definitely within rule 19. Right? So rule 19, as far as rule 19 is concerned, forward of the beam, D1, isn't it? Paragraph D1, forward of the beam,
Yes, sir.
it's not different. Do you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Continue.
Point 2. An alteration of course towards a vessel, a beam or above the beam.
Now he says alteration of course towards a vessel, a beam or
Above the beam.
above the beam. So he is differentiating it as forward of the beam, and then he says a beam or abaft. Right? So he is not talking about 22.5 above the beam. No, he is not looking at that. Forward of the beam, a beam or above the beam. So in this case, he says avoid altering course towards the vessel. Now here what situations could we have? Let's say a vessel coming up from here. A vessel coming up from here. Ideally both these vessels would be overtaking. So they should be keeping clear by overtaking rule, not by rule 19. Right? The rule 19 says any vessel which detects by radar the presence of another shall take action. Right? Again by rule 19 itself, G and H can alter any side, port or starboard. As far as you are concerned, you cannot alter towards the vessel, which means for G, you cannot alter to port, you should alter to starboard. And for H, you cannot alter to starboard, you will alter to port. Right? Now again here, if you see in good visibility, G and H would have been given the obligation to keep clear. And if at all you would have taken action, it would be as a stand-on vessel. But we will not go into that part, we are talking restricted visibility, so let's stick to this. Right? And if you have to take action, you can increase speed, not an issue. But if you increase speed, are you at safe speed? This question would still come up. So just to increase speed only for one particular target may not be right. You will have to take the overall picture and see if I increase speed, is it okay? And a little later, if you have to reduce speed, you may come back to the same situation. Right? So this is most important if you are thinking of increasing speed. Okay. There's another issue here, which is this. (22.5) above the beam. As per RV, or restricted visibility rule 19, if there is a vessel here or here, that means GH, so we'll call this I and J. So these two vessels, you cannot alter towards the vessels.
Yes.
So for I, you cannot alter to port, for J, you cannot alter to starboard. This is rule 19. Now, as I said, I am also looking at the cross. So suppose this was good visibility, or as I said, from restricted visibility you come to good visibility. It can happen, visibility 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, etc. And then you need to take action. Of course, in restricted visibility, as per our standards, we should have taken action 8 miles off. If you give a vessel this expected to take action 8 miles off, and if you are fast more than 20 knots, then 10 miles off. Right? So all that in place, we are not going against that. But just imagine if you are here on I, from restricted visibility you come to good visibility just at the time you want to take action. What situation is this in good visibility?
Crossing.
Who's the giveaway?
I.
And we just discussed, if you are taking action as stand-on vessel, you would go to starboard and go parallel to him. Right? So anything wrong with this action? No. Very right. Good or restricted visibility, almost similar actions. If you look at J, what happens? Between J and A, what situation is it in good visibility? Crossing. Who's the giveaway? A. And if you remember, we had discussed this in crossing, that though ideally you have to go astern of him, one of the actions was to alter large to starboard about, get him on your port side. So in this case, maybe 100 or more than 100 degrees alteration. And if you remember, we also discussed that you can alter to port, go on his parallel, let him go ahead, and then you come back on your course, though it takes more time. In restricted visibility, anyway you are supposed to be at safe speed, reduced speed, and RV also says avoid altering towards the vessel. Right? So if you take that one action out from there, which means alter to starboard and in good visibility and cross stern more than 100 degrees. But if you think of altering to port, then it is very much within the same rules. Right? So just to tell you that don't get confused. Good visibility, restricted visibility. Yes, the wordings may be different, responsibilities are different, because in restricted visibility, any vessel which detects by radar the presence of other vessel is expected to take action. Right? If you are expected to take action, you should take action. The responsibility is with you. Technically, you automatically become the giveaway vessel. Right? But having said that, just remember that the actions which you take are no way too far different from good visibility. In head-on situation, good visibility, you will not alter course to port. You will still alter to starboard. In restricted visibility, avoid altering to port, which means you alter to starboard. But in restricted visibility, we don't use the words head-on and crossing. The word overtaking is used. Right? D1 says, avoid altering course to port except for vessels being overtaken. Right? Now my question here is, anyway, before I go to that part, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Everything? Any doubts, any issues? I think what is remaining is E.
Yes.
And little bit I want to talk about overtaking. Right? But before we do that, we'll take a 5 minutes break. Okay? Certain clarifications to be issued on this. Number one is overtaking. Now remember, when rule 19 applies, does rule 13 apply? How does rule 13 apply? 13 is good visibility or restricted visibility?
Good visibility.
So, in restricted visibility, does rule 13 apply?
No.
Where is the overtaking definition given? In which rule? Rule 13. Rule 3 does not define the term overtaking. Overtaking is given in rule 13. And rule 13 says overtaking is when coming up from a direction more than,
22.5 above the beam.
that means from somewhere here. Right?
Yes, sir.
Then it will be overtaking. This is in
Good visibility.
good visibility. Just put it clearly. Because we are talking of restricted visibility. So in good visibility, this is the definition for overtaking. What about restricted visibility? In restricted visibility, D1, he uses the term overtaking, isn't it? Except overtaking. So, what will be overtaking in restricted visibility? Will it be above the beam? Because in rule 19, paragraph D, both 1 and 2, he talks of forward of the beam,
And above the beam.
a beam above the beam. Right? So, in good visibility, it is more than 22.5 above. So, what is overtaking in restricted visibility? Is it the same thing here? Or is it forward of the beam? A beam. That means my question is, a vessel coming up more than 22.5 above the beam, should that be treated as overtaking? Or a vessel up, above the beam?
Above the beam.
Why not this?
That is good.
That is good. In good visibility.
But in restricted visibility, he doesn't say so. In good visibility, very clearly this is said. In restricted visibility, does he say that overtaking shall be only above the beam? Then how do you conclude that?
He's saying only other than for a vessel being overtaken.
So for vessel being overtaken, the overtaking term has to be defined. Somebody else could be overtaking you, or you could be overtaking somebody else, but you have to understand the term overtaking. So in good visibility it is defined, in restricted visibility not defined. So what should we conclude?
No overtaking situation.
Term overtaking is used, in restricted visibility head on and crossing is not used. So you can say no head on and no crossing, it's just follow the beam, that's it. A beam above. But he uses the term
Overtaking.
Anyways, are coming more than your speed, above your beam, so that is considered as well.
that is okay, but my question is this sector of 22.5, that means if a vessel is here, does he have a right, whatever you want to call it, let's really call it Z, too many alphabets used, right? So if the vessel Z, by overtaking he will have a right to go any side, right? Because you are forward of his beam, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Forward of the beam says avoid altering course to port except overtaking. So for Z, if he is treated as overtaking, he can go either side. And if he is not treated as overtaking, then he is obliged not to alter to port. He should alter only to starboard as per D1. So that's my question. Should he treat this situation as overtaking or not? Well, the answer is no. Overtaking, this definition will hold good even in restricted visibility. So I will say good or restricted visibility. Either way, the definition of overtaking will remain the same. The question is why? Two reasons for this. Reason number one, a set of rules cannot have two definitions for the same word. International regulations for preventing collisions at sea is a set of rules. One set of rules cannot have two definitions for the same word. I can't say as per rule 13 overtaking is this, as per rule 19 no. You cannot have that. Right? So that is one reason. And whenever there are disputes, cases go to the court, and when courts give you decisions, they become a source of law, right? Or a precedence, if you want to call that. So, in the Kariba Tricolor and Clary case, the judge had very clearly said that although Rule 13 does not apply, the spirit of Rule 13 applies. Which means the definition of overtaking will be from Rule 13. The spirit of overtaking is 22.5 above and not from away. Right? So these are two reasons where I would like to say that in my opinion, overtaking would always be same. Whether it is good visibility or restricted visibility, either way 22.5 above the beam. Coming up from more than that is overtaking. So in this case, the vessel Z cannot be treated as overtaking, right? But in case you have a vessel, same vessel starts from here, that means let's call this as vessel X, then it would be treated as overtaking because it is more than 22.5 above. Is it clear what we are looking at?
Yes, sir.
Clarity is very important. Generally, of course, no collisions, no court cases, nothing. That is what our aim should be. We have to achieve that. We don't want to collide and then go in the court and fight, isn't it? But then we also need to understand what is the spirit of the rules and how they are operating. Clarity on understanding will also give us a clarity on applying the rules. Clear or any doubts?
Yes, clear.
Right. Can we go to the next paragraph now?
Paragraph E. Except where it has been determined that a risk of collision does not exist, every vessel which hears apparently forward of her beam the fog signal of another vessel, or which cannot avoid a close quarter situation with another vessel forward of her beam, shall reduce her speed to the minimum at which she can be kept on her course. She shall, if necessary, take all her way off and in any event navigate with extreme caution until the danger of collision is over.
Now here he is talking of vessels. We'll just take it here, vessels. Again, forward of the beam, you are hearing a fog signal, which means you have not determined whether risk of collision exists or does not exist. Reasons, we won't go into that, whether radar is working, not working, you sighted, not sighted, whatever it may be. There is a vessel forward of the beam from where you are hearing the fog signal and you have not determined risk of collision. Right? If you have not determined risk of collision and the vessel is forward of the beam, the rule para E very clearly says you shall take all way off. Initially, of course, bring her to minimum steerage way, if necessary, take all way off and navigate with extreme caution until the danger of
Collision is over.
collision is over. Now, here you have to keep one thing in mind. If you are stopping your engines, what is the fog signal of a power-driven vessel underway and making way? One prolonged blast at interval of
2
2 minutes. And what is the duration of a prolonged blast? 4 to 6 seconds. Right? When you are stopped underway and not making way, what is your fog signal? 2 prolonged blasts. Same interval 2 minutes. And interval between the two blasts being 2 seconds. Right? So if you got 2 prolonged, that means when you stop your engines, stop making way. Not immediately after stopping, but when you stop making way, your fog signal should change over to 2 prolonged blasts. At intervals not exceeding 2 minutes. Interval is same. So by doing that, you are giving indication to the other vessel. Now here, you just don't know what the other vessel is doing. Whether you are overtaking her, whether she is going down, whether she is crossing you, you could probably find out the fog signal coming from the port side or the starboard side. But again, diffraction applies. So especially if it is very near the forward, you may not be sure also port or starboard due to diffraction. Especially in fog, you may not get the exact direction, and anyway you cannot take bearing of sound signals. Can't determine risk of collision that way. Right? So very simply he says, forward of the beam you shall not do anything except reduce speed,
Take
all way off,
Navigate with extreme
navigate with extreme caution till the danger of collision is
over.
over. Now if you look at good seamanship practices, remember one thing, the rule says the fog signal should be sounded 1 or 2 prolonged, whatever is applicable, at interval not exceeding 2 minutes. The word is not exceeding. you could reduce the interval to 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. Don't make it too less. 10-15 seconds may not make sense. But you could, by good semantic practice, you could bring it down to 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and it is very much within the rules. It says not more than 2. Less than 2 is acceptable. Right? So is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Any questions in Rule 19 now? Any doubts, anybody? Rule 19? Clear? Can we say Rule 19 is also complete now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, gentlemen. Yes. Rule 19, any more questions, please?
Sir, what if we hear a fog signal which is above the beam?
Here, you're talking of this. That means you are hearing a fog signal from a vessel
Above the beam.
above the beam. You are hearing a fog signal here. What will be the fog signal? What do you think you will hear? One prolonged blast at interval of 2 minutes. So which means it is a power driven. Now, if a vessel is here somewhere in this area, let's say either here or here, wherever it may be, and you are hearing a fog signal, you are not sure of his course and speed, right? You are not sure of what the other vessel is doing. Clear? You are not even sure whether the other vessel has got a radar and has plotted you or not. Can you say for sure? Because AIS will give you his course and speed. So if you are using AIS, then it is very easy for you to determine what course and speed he is doing. But again, you don't know his position. But that would give you some information on which you can't really say whether he is passing clear or not. Assuming that he is not painting on the radar. Right? If he is painting on the radar and AIS is there, then you can combine the information and use. But let us take worst case scenario. You don't know anything about him except that you are hearing the fog signal. He may have a radar, he may not have a radar. Let us take the second case first. If he doesn't have a radar. If he doesn't have a radar, what will he do?
Reduce speed.
He will hear your fog signal,
By sound and hearing.
so he will reduce speed, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Paragraph E says if a vessel hears forward of the beam fog signal, he is supposed to reduce speed, take all way off, navigate with caution. Which means if he is hearing your fog signal forward of his beam, he will do that.
Yes.
Now, what are the chances of him hearing your fog signal above this beam? If he is hearing above the beam, probably he is going in this direction or the other side, something like this, and he is already past you. That is why he is hearing, so there is no issue. It will clear out. If he is approaching you, which means if he is coming towards you, somewhere like this, whatever it may be, only then he is hearing forward of the beam. And we are only concerned about these situations. If he is hearing forward of the beam by Rule 19E, he should take all way off, navigate with caution, etc. Whatever is applicable to you is applicable to him as well. Correct?
Yes.
So that is what can you do to indicate your presence here?
Increase the frequency.
Increase the frequency of your fog signal. Right? In some ships, the fog signals can be turned around. If you have that, you can turn it towards aft so that you can hear it more clearly. By increased frequency, we mean instead of one long blast every 2 minutes, you could sound every 1 minute.
Yes.
Right? So you are telling him that, look, I am around here, I have not got you on my radar or whatever. I mean, that's applicable to him as well. We don't know about him. We are responsible for our action and we are talking only about our action. So, in this case, we should maintain our course and speed. Right? Plus increase the frequency of fog signal so that he knows where we are. Now, why maintain course and speed is applicable in the other case if he has a radar. Now, if he has a radar, what do you think he will be doing? He would have plotted you, right? And having plotted you, he would have also plotted a safe course, isn't it? That if I go on this course, I will be passing this vessel safe, right? Now, his maneuver of passing you safe is based on what? Based on your present course and speed, right? So if you change your present course and speed, then his maneuver can go for a toss. For example, let's say he is somewhere here and he has plotted to go like this, and you decide to increase speed. Or from here, if he is plotted a course to go like this and you are decreasing speed, because we don't know what is his course and speed. Could be this, could be this. If it is this and you reduce speed, it is to advantage. But if it is this and reduce speed, you could be in trouble. Same way, if it is this and increase speed, advantage. But if it is this and increase speed, you could be in trouble. Right? So best is maintain course and speed, number one. Number two, increase the frequency of your fog signal so that he knows. Which means whether he has a radar, in which case he's plotted a safe course, you're not playing around with that maneuver. And if he doesn't have a radar, he's hearing you on the fog signal, so you're again increasing the frequency, hearing you more quickly, and he will go by 19E and reduce his speed. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Anything else? Any other questions on this? Rule 19, any other doubts? Anybody?